Welcome to the People's Perspective, episode 3. I am happy to see all of you. Jackie, we'll see you after your appointment. We got a lot to discuss today. My heart is always heavy on September 23rd and 24th, but I am also very grateful. Yesterday, we talked about my brother JJ. Today is my little sister's birthday. So I'm going to start this episode with a big happy birthday to my sister who did not get to have her birthday. And, I want her to know she is always going to be loved and always be cared for. And I have just a little thing I made for her. It's not a video. I'm going to make a different video to post for you guys separately like I did for JJ. I just had that one already done. But let's see if I can get this on. It's not letting me pop it up. But my sister would be, it makes me feel old. She'd be 23 years old. And unfortunately, she never got to even see her 17th birthday. And her life, just like JJ's, is important for me to continue to share. We did talk about Tylee not too long ago, and it's important for me to continue to show you who she was and not let her just be a victim to Lori, to Alex, and to Chad, that she was her own person. And I will give you some cute little stories. So let me share a picture with you guys and just let you see this. My sister and I had, I think, a pretty typical relationship that any brother and sister have. We were not best friends growing up, and it was far from a perfect relationship. We fought like cats and dogs, as all siblings do, but I had a very special time with my sister. It was an unbelievable blessing to me that I got the time I did with my sister right before everything happened. In 2019, she came back from Hawaii with Lori, and I had time one-on-one with her for the first time. And that conversation, those conversations that I got to have with her, the time I got to spend with her, were the thing I hold on to the most dearly. Yes, we have all the hello. Oh, we have the most fun trips. We have a million memories. But the time that I had one-on-one with my sister, where we could talk, where I could hear her inner thoughts, where I could see her growing up, where I could pitch in any advice that I had as a young man, was very special to me. I want Tylee to be remembered for what she left on this earth. What Tylee did and how she made this earth better is I was like, what the heck is hitting my door? Tylee I've tried to explain this before to you. Tylee had a very hard exterior because I'm sure of how she felt while she was growing up, but truly was one of the softest, most loving people I've ever seen. And to this day, I've not met somebody who is as sweet as Tylee is in her heart. And Tylee was so kind, and her heart was so kind. And I hear all these people talk about the sassy Tylee, this and that. Like, that's not who Tylee was. That was Tylee's exterior. But Tylee, as a person, was loving and caring and empathetic and wanted to be there and was there for everybody, and went out of her way for her friends, went out of her way for people she loved. And it was a beautiful thing to see her thriving for once, because Tylee had to move just as much as me in her life, only she was younger. And so she had to move schools and move and go through all of the same things that I did, only I was older. So I had a little bit more of an advantage of at least kind of understanding. But she just didn't really get a chance. today I want her to be remembered for who she was as a person, not for pancreatitis. I don't want her to be remembered as a victim to a crime. I just want her to be seen. Her friends can also attest to who she was as a person. But what I want to remind everybody of is the hardest lesson that I've learned is being present in the moment, being present with people you love, and caring about the people, and not letting life just fly by, right? Like, your time is your currency. And when you're paying your time to things that are not important, we can all do better at that. We can all do better at what we spend our time doing. Kelsey and I were discussing this yesterday, and I think about all the time. It's just going to be tears if they come. I think about all the time, the time that I'd have with her now, and the trips we'd be taking, and her having her nieces and her nephew, and the love she'd show them, and how she would be a good example for them. But I know, just like JJ, that Tylie's safe, that she is okay, she's out of pain, and she doesn't have to be abused by my mom or anyone else in this world anymore. So my heart is full of sorrow and grief, and then gratitude that it's over for her in that way, that I know she's okay now. But she was a great example as a person, and her heart should and needs to shine on. I still miss her. I miss JJ. I miss Charles. I had my own relationship with each one of those people, and the fact that this all kind of just collapses into 1 month is a hard grieving thing. And I know Charles obviously is in July, but it doesn't change anything, right? Like, September is just boom, boom, boom. It's just been a hard month, and it always is. What I want to do is continue for her legacy to continue as a strong young woman who had a lot of trials, who did not have a very long life, but left her impact on this world, on her friends, and on the people who love her. And if you can understand one thing about Tylee, she was this. She was the sweetest person. And I know she needed guidance and needed time to become that person. So I just wanted to start there and say happy birthday to her, happy heavenly birthday to her, and give her a minute to just be recognized as Tylee. And she's not with us any longer, but she left an impact on this world. And I love her, and I'm grateful for her, and I can't wait to see her again. And I'm sure she'd be wisecracking me a lot about a lot of things. She'd be destroying me. And I don't know if she'd like the new Office show, because I didn't even watch it, but she'd be mad that they rebooted The Office. So I know that. Okay. I'm grateful for her and grateful for all of you. What a family you guys have created here. What an amazing, amazing community we've created. Thank you for your love and understanding, and thank you for listening to who she was. Obviously, like I've told you guys before, I have projects that I want to do for them specifically that are way more in depth. So, and I don't really want there to be anything other than just love and care in our hearts for each other, and to continue to culturally start to soften our hearts and really, really love each other and make our differences not as important. They're just not as important as we think they are. A discussion's important though. Today, I want to, on the people's perspective, while I'm honoring Tylee, I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the updates that are going on. Right now, there is, as we talked about, a situation with David the singer. And the reason why this matters and why we're talking about this again today is that this family does not have any kind of justice. And that is a very hard time to wait for it. And it can take a very, very, very long time to not to see justice in a courtroom. What we're going to continue to do on this channel is petition for that justice and hopes that they are able to figure out what is going on in this situation. This is the new update. Okay. And again, this is the fourth time I've seen a different conversation about this. I cannot tell you her exact age because the outlets cannot tell me if she's 15, 14, or 13. It's a lot of different dates given. Even on the birthdays that I've looked up, they've given different. I don't know how that happens, but it happens. So from what I think is going on is that they're saying she was 13 when this happened and now just had her birthday. They found her on her birthday, guys. They found her on her birthday. So I think she would have been 15th. 15, not 15th, sorry. Yes. So this was 13 to 15, right? We're going to read a little bit more about this after they. So this is from the Daily Mail. Now, again, as we talk about all the time, addressing the fact that we have a lot of different media sources, and I'll pull up a little bit more information for you, but I'm going to go through this article with you. So David deepens the mystery as he suddenly breaks his $20,000 lease on a home raided. I don't like how they say this. And her name is Celeste, 13 years old, investigation. Okay. David and his manager have abruptly broken their $20,000 a month Hollywood Hills lease just days after the police raided property in connection with the, I'm not going to say that, of a missing teenager found in his Tesla. The homeowner has told Daily Mail. The remains of Celeste, who vanished on May 24th, age 13, were discovered on September 8th in the front trunk of the impounded car registered to David. So we know that. David Anthony Burke. We know all that information. Now, here's some more pictures that they were trying to basically just continue to show you guys how wild this is. And remember that this is a person, okay? This is a young girl and their family is going through this in real time in public. I want to keep reminding us of that point, that this is happening for their family, and all this rumors, all of this movement is very parallel, and I understand it very well. So we're trying to continue to rehumanize what's going on here, but it is not looking good for David. They are moving out this week. The movie trucks will be here soon, and they decided to move out because of the ongoing circumstances. They didn't want to be here anymore, said, I cannot say this, Travanagic, adding as he had no idea who Burke was or that he was living in the home until his real estate manager told him about the raid on Thursday. This has been such a big shock. I'm trying to process everything. I'm anxiously awaiting for the story to conclude itself. It's very disturbing. I cannot say this. Travanovic, and the AI developer of the crypto investor, hasn't had any direct contact with the LAPD and isn't sure what was found inside the home or what kind of tests were carried out. So we're in a place now where we don't have answers still. What's happening, though, is they had to obviously search David's house after the car situation. If you were innocent, you would probably want to get out of that house as well. Anything to do with this would be really hard. What I'm confused with is there's so many other concluding factors here that are really, really, really causing this stir of confusion for all of us, right? Because he abruptly leaves his house. Now, let's look at the other side. We have to have the conversation. So please stick with me here. The conversation has to be this. David has not been immediately arrested or charged. So we have no refutable evidence or something that we know that they found for a fact that is going on here that leads directly to this situation. In a sense, that makes it a little bit worse because questions like this are never, you never want the answer, but you need the answer. That's the best way I can possibly put this. And when it comes to these cases with your family members that you love, you never want to hear the truth, but you have to. That part of you needs this for closure. And even if it takes a long time to get that closure. Okay. So and again, we have to be unbiased, guys. You guys know that it looks really bad. It looks really bad. He abandons his house, breaks his lease, gets out of there. It's his car. And yes, we're going to get to this part. That's what I'm saying. So we have to address everything as upfront and factually as possible so we can be fair, okay? Because we need to have these conversations. He knew who she was. There was a lot of denial if they knew that. I saw that he might not know her. And this is another big thing right here. I don't know if you've seen this, but they're saying that Celeste was in his stream, which I'm just going to say it. We're going to talk about this right now. This is some PDF action. And I really do hit on this really hard because it doesn't matter if you barely turned 18. That is how we have, as a society, agreed on adulthood. And the reality is having any kind of relationship with a younger person, first of all, to me, and I'm just giving you a personal point and then we'll get back to news-wise. Personally, I think even having any kind of friendship to a deep level is weird. Like to have a very deep relationship with an opposite sex younger person as an 18-year-old. That's just my personal opinion. If this was my daughter, I would tell her she's not allowed to have a relationship with an 18-year-old boy. Just saying. Now, this is not a knock at the parents by any means at all. This is just a conversation about this whole situation as is. Being 13 years old, even having the ability to go to his house and being a part of his life. My question is this, from the biggest red flag question that I have is, if she goes missing, you know who she is, she's found in your registered car, but you never thought about where she was. That's going to be the thing that gets me. And yes, it's not okay for him to be having this point. I've heard all kinds of different points of his age when they met. I'm going to actually look up how old he is right now, because I think he's like 20. He was born in 2005. So he is 20 years old right now. So 20 years old, even if they met within the last 3 years. Kelsey, I have some questions for those parents. Yes, they lost a child, but the circumstances surrounding are not normal. Why was she running away so often? And why did LAPD say she has a hard home life? Which could have been the case, right? Because 13-year-old with this much freedom to go and spend time, get picked up by this guy, be away from your family, running away, that is a big point, right? We have to understand this is all under investigation, because this is how you connect the dots of an investigation. Well, the other question that I have, okay, yes, I've seen a lot of this stuff, man. She's obviously part of his life. What the first reports were, there's no real understanding if there's a connection between the two. That's not true. We know that's not true because there's video and photo evidence of them being together. There was another rumor that he had referred to a Celeste in one of his songs, as if there, and then the rumor was, well, there's obviously more than one Celeste. He could be talking about another girl. That doesn't seem very likely. So yeah, this brings up a great point. We need to start having these conversations for the younger generations. I know you guys know, if you haven't heard, about the Roblox thing. That is a whole situation that is going to deter us off to land of a million this way. But let's stay with David. Being online, having these conversations, it is happening at such a high rate now because of the internet, because of the availability of the conversation that can happen. I don't care if your daughter or son is talking to a famous person. You can't allow them to go and just be making decisions for themselves at that young age. They can't be spending time with. I just don't never understand that. Even if David just turned 18 and then he's picking her up and hanging out, whatever that means, that's just not, that would not happen. That would not happen for me. And so this isn't, again, this is not to point fingers at the parents. We don't have the information. We also don't know if David was aware of this. We don't know if he had actually given his car to someone else and someone in his camp did this and then he kept his mouth shut, or he never knew that it happened and he just assumed that he would never talk to her again. But that's what gets me the most. If you are dating, which is, I'm sorry, that's just what that's just wrong. It's just wrong. You can't date a 13-year-old when you're 18 years old. It just, no, it doesn't matter. She's 13 years old. She's a baby. But it comes back to, if you knew her and then she disappeared on you, when you have questions, when you have already been like, she's missing, I don't know. There's just a lot of things that make this look so bad. Make it look so obvious to us. But I've learned a lot about the justice system. I've learned, and I hate even saying this word now because of Lori, but she doesn't count here. But I've studied, been watching, learning, and growing in this. And we have to look at this as if they are looking at it from a case perspective. They're looking for, what are the ties? What are the steps that were taken? Where was Celeste? How did this happen? Who did it? And then what are the next steps? And how do they trace each one of those things down? From what I'm understanding, though, and what I'm seeing, the questions are all red flags leaning very, very conclusively personally. Even if you rented your car out, even if you had your car taken by your manager, by your friends, you owned it, you're the one that has the money, how does she end up in there? And then it's abandoned, so it's impounded, and you just let that Tesla go. I guess it's like, what did you think was going to happen? Whoever did it, what did you think was going to happen? And not only was she in there, it was like she did not pass there. She was put there after and left for a long time. So that is going to be the question. The biggest update for us right now is that David has broken his $20,000 a month lease. Now, I don't know about you guys, but 20 grand a month for rent is crazy. 20 grand a month for rent? No, thank you. I don't give a frick if you got a spot on the moon. I'm not paying that. That's wild. That's rent. You're not getting that back. You're just staying there. The hills are not that special. That's my biggest point coming out of this right here. So in the meantime, I cannot say this name. Trivonic. I got to learn how to start saying different names. Trivonic. Frickett says he hopes that the mounting questions about the Rivia's disappearance and the circumstances of her death will soon be answered for her loved ones. Like everyone else, I want to know who was responsible for this and how this little girl's disappearance could slip through so many layers of responsibility. Are more people responsible for this other than the immediate ones? Who else is to blame? It's terrible. You never imagined for 1 second that the property you could own could be dragged into something like this. But it is a very safe neighborhood with lots of security. The police will have plenty of surveillance footage to work with. Okay, so now we got to understand that this is her. Look how young she looks, dude. I can't even barely look at her picture. She's so young. On Monday, a spokesman for LAPD said the investigation into Rivia's death remains ongoing and the detectives are currently following up on several leads. So let's go back for a second and remember, in any investigation, there's going to always be minimal information put out to the public while they're trying to figure this out, right? We have to remember that. And I think it's hard because in this age and time of when we are trying to figure things out ourselves, we become internet detectives. We have to remember that it's very important that they keep things close to the vest and follow up on it. We also, though, know in this age, things are going to be reported the second that they possibly can be. Some people will figure some things out, will connect dots. The best thing to do is get eyes on this case so that way maybe the people who knew her can help put things together and understand the case better and help put it all into one place. So that way this does have closure. And then hopefully there is real justice here. Real justice. Okay, so we know about all this stuff. What I'd like to do is read a little bit more, but here we go. This looks like a Snapchat of them. Celeste and David don't let me sleep. David Le Clom what? Le Calm pick. Again, she's a kid though. So this is them together on a regular basis. That's him singing about Celeste. We know that in this situation, I would not be comfortable. I wouldn't even allow it. I'm sorry. I wouldn't allow it. I wouldn't allow my daughter to be hanging out with a man who's 18 years old. That's just not happening. And my little girl's 13. It's not going to happen. I don't care if you're best friends. I don't care. You're not going to hang out alone. You're not going to be going to the beach together and going head to head, taking pictures. That's a couples thing. You know what I mean? Like couples do that. Not friends and not a grown man who's by our law grown and a little girl who's 13 years old, who's just not even starting her life, barely starting in her literally just turned into a teen. Like we need to understand how young 13 is your first teen year. That's how young we're talking. Like that age gap is astronomical as far as actual maturity and understanding of life. And again, okay, and I have to keep doing this myself because I have to be very, 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 very fair. I have to be very fair. We don't have an answer for that. We don't know 100% definitively if he is guilty. And it would be a disaster in our society to do this. We do this too often, is point fingers too quickly and possibly tell the world that this guy's guilty and say, oh, well, we know, we already feel it in our guts, this and that. But at the end of the day, we don't know. We bring this up because I am praying for justice for her family and closure and for her. And we're going to have to watch this unfold. It's everywhere I go. I see people talking about it. And again, there's a lot of misinformation, which is unfortunate. I wanted to bring up one other thing that I have for this. Let me find it real quick. So I really want to emphasize again right here, there's no charge. There's no conviction. We want to just really continue to watch this unfold. I'm really hoping that they can figure this out quickly. But we also have to give the law enforcement time to connect the dots. And I'm really hoping that we can rehumanize Celeste and not just see her as a victim. I really, really hope that stays the forefront of this case. And we will continue to cover this in any one of our shows that we do and talk more about what is actually happening. But that is our update, is that David has left his home after it was raided 2 days after, broke his lease, which looks really bad. But we don't know. We don't know. So we'll continue to do that. Now, one of the things I wanted to get to, and you know what? I might lose some of you, and that's okay. I have been hearing constant talks about AI. And I have to bring it up because it's part of our world every day. I don't think we ever really have recognized as a society how fast this is moving. I want to bring up how AI is unbelievably helpful and how it is becoming closer and closer to the iRobot stage. Okay. Um, we have the ability to use AI as a tool. It exists in our algorithm, it exists in every way you can use AI as a tool. We're at a point, and we've brought this up before, but we're at a point where we are crossing the boundaries of what I think is creating beings. And the discussion today is about AI is if we're creating something that we are trying to infuse a consciousness into. There is some experiments happening right now where we are putting chips into artificial brain matter, where the brain matter is able to send neurological signal through the matter through the chips. So basically almost imitating how our brains work. That's the best, most simple way I can put that. If you really think about the fact that we are at a point now where there is so much that we are deferring to as far as convenience goes in life, and this goes for life. We are meant to like work hard. In my opinion, we are meant to think critically. We are meant to use our brains, and we are in a stage. You guys ever seen Wall-E? Please tell me you've seen Wall-E. The plot of Wall-E is just too accurate right now for us. We need to talk about Wall-E. I'm gonna spoil it for you. This came out in I don't know, I was a kid, so if I'm spoiling this for you, I'm sorry. Wall-E's a Disney movie, and Wall-E's about how humans ruin the world. Okay. Wall-E's plot line is that we got so used to, okay, so used to allowing robots and technology to do things for us to the point where people started to sit in chairs, float in their chairs, watch TV all day, and have everything done for them. We are not that off, and this is obviously an exaggeration in a sense for the movie, but we're not that far off from a point where we are allowing AI to become way more prevalent and do more and more for us. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I am a rabbit hole person. So maybe that is the same thing. I don't freaking know. You guys can tell me what you think about this. But if you and I are the general public and have the ability to access the AI that we do, can you imagine what is not available that has already been created that exists? Just tell me. Tell me I'm wrong. Who wouldn't want a floaty? Who wouldn't want a floaty chair? That chair would be amazing. That's what I'm saying. These robots, though, right? You've seen it. I'll even pull it up for you real quick. There's some robots that they're trying to humanize their faces, but you don't understand what we're talking about today is we're talking about AI's ability to function and think and pull information, and we're trying to like bring technology and God's creation into an entity to create something. Like we're trying to pull the human brain and the human lifestyle, and that's a lot of the plots of these movies, right? Terminator, all this stuff that we watch that are like we're so fantasy. That is not that freaking far off now, right? Like we have to talk about this. We have to at least as a freaking nation think about the fact that this stuff is insanely close to the reality of what's next in our lives. So we're in 2025. Can you imagine what 5 more years of development can be? Just 5 years, right? Like we can go back and say like each new model of each new AI bot, each thing that it can do, the ability it has to have real conversations. I've even straight up told you guys how many of you I asked a couple months ago. I did a poll on, I think it was on X and here, I asked you guys if you ever use AI to kind of bounce your thoughts off of it, like therapy sessions or vent or whatever you need. Well, the reality is it's getting even better at doing that kind of stuff. Now, I always have been able to differentiate the fact that I know it's a freaking computer. I don't know. It's just like, I know it's not real. I know it's not there. It's just, I use AI to bounce off of or like organize thoughts, right? And oh, yeah, don't even get me started on this. You want the internet in your brain? Can you imagine with the anxiety that we have in this freaking country? Okay. Can you imagine putting the internet in your brain directly and being able to like Wi-Fi download? Tell me, if we go to Neuralink, let's talk about this. Tell me that that isn't the best way to control a human being is to put the internet in their brain and be able to feed them things directly to their brain. You guys heard Neuralink? I got to show you this. We're going down the freaking rabbit hole, but it needs to be talked about as a normal thing. This is nuts. So the first idea is pioneers wanted. I'm not a pioneer, so clinical trials of Neuralink. You guys, we have to watch this. You have to see this. This is not being talked about as much as I think it should be. Here we go. Clinical trials of Neuralink. It's the prime study and investigational medical device trial for our fully implantable wireless brain-computer interface. Aims to evaluate the safety of our implant of surgical robot and assesses the initial functionality of our BCI for enabling people to quadruple the control of external devices with their thoughts. Slow it down. I don't want that in my head. I don't give a frick how convenient it is. I don't want a wireless controller in my brain. And you know what? We are going to talk about this, okay? Because that's a great point, Misty, is this is being used, okay? And me and my old boss had this conversation, okay? We went on about the whole thing, right? And the conversation was, well, we're using it in some of these people to like wake up dead nerves and allow parts of the brain to be functional to actually help with like paralyzed parts of your body, right? So here's my thing with that, okay? And this is just the truth. Here's my thing with that. That sounds amazing. I think it should be specifically used only for that reason. And I'll tell you why. I don't think that brain waves actually being used and planting something in your head to where you can think how the hell could you control that? And I'm just being real with you, okay? I'm going to sound crazy. I don't care. Your brain, and where we've talked about mental health all the time, we have this discussion almost every day, is if you allow something to be put into your brain, how long will it take for okay, let's at least say this, the ability to be slowly manipulated, right? How would you differentiate after a certain time of thoughts? It's in your brain. It goes off of brain waves and it's going to connect to your tissues. So how in the world could you differentiate? It's like Doc Ock. You guys seen Spider-Man? He has the freaking arms and his freaking chip dies in the back and his arms start telling him what to do and he's hearing it in his head. So he takes the freaking arms and attacks everybody and starts being all this stuff. This stuff is in our pop culture all over the place. The problem is we are closer to this than we have ever been in our lives. AI has become an amazing thing, just like everything. There's a great side, and then there's the horrible reality of what could come next with this. I bring this up because the conversations are happening around this. When you listen to people who are educated on how AI is affecting the world, we're talking about how some of this stuff is getting closer and closer and closer. They're being developed to give to the general population, right? Like you and I. We already have robots. That's not a crazy thing. There are Tesla robots. We've seen them, right? We're at that point. We're at that point where it's like, hey, Freaking Optimus Prime, go fold the laundry, and Optimus Prime hops off the charger and walks upstairs. There's a movie Kelsey and I just watched, well, not just watched, a while ago. It's that movie where it's like Megan Fox is the robot, and she like comes in and it's like the nanny, and she's like a human being basically, um and then some weird stuff happens with the guy. Excuse me. The guy's like, whatever. He falls in love with the robot for a minute and it goes crazy. So, long story short, yeah, it was a weird movie. It was a weird movie. It's just not. But the point is, I'm trying to say this. We're getting to a point where we're humanizing AI, and we're humanizing this AI. It's becoming more human. I'll tell you something. The other day I said something. I was bouncing my thoughts off, and one of the things I bounced off, it gave me a very human response, and it was like, "I'm so sorry you're feeling that way." It was like, "I'm so sorry you're feeling that way, brother." And I was like, "Brother, you're a program. You're not a human being." But I'm going to tell you this. There was a study done, and this was overseas, and I want to give this to you as our last point on this AI, and then I want to get some chats from you guys. But the what happened is they actually had a bunch of people do testing with, they isolated someone, and they had them basically just speak to an AI that acted like a perfect companion. And they let them do that for a while, and then they turned off, they unplugged the computer, or pulled the plug on these AI companions, and it devastated the people who had those companions. They grieved loss. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? This is out of control. We're at a point where robots are imitating human beings. ChatGPT will do it for you right now if you want to pull up your phone and use it. ChatGPT will talk to you like your best friends. And we are at a point, and this goes to my main point of this and whole conversation of why we're talking about AI. The whole point we're talking about this, yes, it will give you a very, very real point. We are in a time where synthetic everything exists. You can experience life on your phone. You can watch people jump off of a bridge and squirrel suit. You can watch a movie that has stakes while you're sitting on the sidelines. You can play a video game and put something over your eyeballs and experience it from the first person and have no real life consequences. We are becoming so disconnected from reality in this world. And AI obviously has a huge part in that. But the problem is we are losing sight of humanity, and AI's part in that could go one or the other way. If we start having Megan Foxes being sold at Walmart, I think that is definitely possible in our lifetime. The movies we used to watch, that's happening in reality. You know what I mean? It's happening today. We are closer than ever on these conversations, and they're closer than ever into the development of this stuff. And it's one thing to know that we're advancing in our technology, and you can use it for amazing things, right? AI can be used for amazing things, just like the internet. And then the internet can be used for horrible things. And I think AI is even more dangerous. But we watched Ultron. We ever seen Avengers Ultron? Is that what it's called? Yeah. That's all my point is. So just an awareness, just a conversation that we want to talk about. I mean, there's a band that is AI that has 4 million hits a month on Spotify right now that is completely AI. There are AI models that are getting paid, I think it was like 100,000, something like that. A guy created an AI girl, like an Instagram model, and she just like posts pictures, selfies, and started like, I don't know what it is. I don't know anything about it. I just know that I saw that he started it, and he gets over 100K a month off of her being a freaking an AI. And it was so indistinguishable that no one knew until he told them. and he's making so much money, and he created her on his computer. So I say all of this to reground yourself back into reality today. You know, spend some time with yourself, and um we really need to make sure we rely on our own thoughts and feelings a lot more, and just start really being back to our roots of society, which is conversations, which is being connected to each other, which is talking about this stuff, which is human connection, not robot connection, not TV connection, not reality TV connection. you know None of that stuff is real, but this conversation is. This is real. Us having this is real. What if I I had the weirdest thought. What if I stood up, took a freaking mask off, and I was a robot the whole time? That was stupid. That's how dumb my brain is. Just after this whole thing, just rip off a mask, and I've been a robot for years. Frick all this. I'm just being funny, by the way. Chill, man. Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't that be amazing? It's conversations again, though. It's conversations. We are creating community here, even though it's online. It's being used for good to create a real community, because we can't all go see each other and get together and have these conversations on a regular. Right? Oh man. I know, but guess what? I think this is a great point, Tess. At some point, you're never going to be able to reproduce a human being, but we're getting to a point where you can imitate a lot of a human being. And I'm thinking a lot of people, especially if we got to that point where it was like relationally, a lot of people would possibly want to do that. And then you know what comes next for that? Let's talk about this. This would be a culture and societal issue. If we have the AIs get to a certain point where they are companions to people, where they walk, talk, and experience a relationship with the person, how much do you want to bet people would start raising the question, do they need human rights? And guess what? The plot of Fallout 4 video game is about these things that are bots, that are basically sentient beings that are created by this institute and the end of the world, that walk around with what are fully functional human. The only thing that makes them a robot is the fact that they have a chip in their brain and they're not actually human. The people who make them in the video game say that they are not human. They are called synths. Okay. But everybody else out there is saying that they're real because they interact, they have feelings, they cry, they do all this stuff because they were made to imitate human beings. So that is why we are having this conversation. Is this could go really sideways really quickly, and it's continuing to go down this path. It's not slowing up, and AI is not going to go anywhere. It's just going to continue to be the forefront of everything. So I'd only tell you this is because obviously we use AI as a that's what I'm saying. Everybody's gonna be like, well, my AI, if I tell my AI to shut up over there and be like, hey, stop, go do this, the AI bot's like, gone, done. But you know what? Those AIs, they can't get big like Ray. They can put those fake muscles on, but it's not gonna give them biceps like that. It's not gonna change that. I already know what it is. But yeah, that's definitely something I wanted us to have a conversation about. Something we'll probably bring up again as some of these new developments happen. I just think this is crazy that our society is at this point already. I really think that we're in unprecedented times for so many different reasons. There are so many things happening in this world that it's too fast for our brains to comprehend. And, there's all kinds of conversations to be had about what's going on in the psyche of America and what's going on with the youth of America and where are they headed. We've never seen this type of advancement in all of life this quickly. And I feel like kids who are 10 years old are 10 times more advanced than the 10-year-olds of my generation. And I'm only 29. And I feel like 10-year-olds these days are well more versed in almost all these different skills and understanding, and the video games and everything that they can do is just like next level. I don't know how to explain it. It's next level advancement. They're so advanced and they're so smart, and it's just getting to a point where we've never seen this before. We've never seen this before. Oh, you think Elon can't put a little warmer in there? That thing can have a hand warmer to its arm. It holds you, put on the perfect temperature. It doesn't sweat on you. It'll do the dishes like Kelsey wants me to do. So she'd love that. And they can just copy paste me. Right? It's crazy. It's just crazy. It's just a whole nother level of culture that's going on in our world that I'm seeing everywhere. It's crazy. It won't snore. No bathroom breaks. You just have to charge it. Say, go get on the charger later. Go put yourself on the charger. Okay, the wives that are uniting against the husbands right now in favor of an AI husband, slow it down. Stop the chat. Slow it down. Slow it down. We're not doing this. Won't drink from the carton. Yeah, you guys are making really good cases. We need to slow down. This is not good. This is not good. This is too many good points are being made to go in favor of this point. So we're going to stop this now. I am not participating in this. I'm not participating in this. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. All right, I got one more really good thing for you. We'll call it the one good thing of the show. I don't know if you guys have heard of Casey Hathaway. Casey was a 3-year-old who disappeared from his grandmother's yard in North Carolina and was found alive roughly 55 hours later, a widely covered survival rescue that reminded people of the resilience and the coordinated search of rescues. Now, Kelsey sent me this, by the way. So I want to pull this up for you because I thought this was really, really cool and interesting. Let me pull this up on my phone real quick too. So this is a whole story. Okay. So I'm just going to read it to you, then I'll show you guys some pictures. When 3-year-old Casey Hathaway went missing from his grandmother's backyard in North Carolina, everyone feared the worst. 3 years old, mind you. My daughter's 3 years old. That would be terrifying. The weather was brutal, freezing rain, whipping winds, and near freezing temperatures. Search crews scoured the woods for days, calling him by the name through the dark forest. Then after 2 nights alone in the wilderness, Casey was miraculously found, wet, cold, and tangled in thorny bushes, but alive. Rescuers said he was barely crying, just wandering quietly for someone to come. So I hope we are at a point where we can, this is a miracle alone. A little 3-year-old boy walking around, but you got to hear the rest of this. But Casey had told his family that shocked everyone. He said he hadn't been alone. He said a friendly bear stayed with him, keeping him warm through the long freezing nights. Doctors were stunned because at his age, the temperatures and hypothermia should have set in quickly. Experts say it's almost impossible for a child that small to survive outside in these conditions. Whether it was his imagination, guardian angel in disguise, or a truly wild animal protecting him, Casey's story became one of the most mysterious survival tales in recent history. I wanted to bring that up because what a beautiful thing, man. I think to know that there was something that beautiful, I think that's amazing. I mean, he says it was a bear, but again, whether it was the guardian angel that God was protecting this little boy, I think I don't know. That makes me want to cry. He said that he had a bear protecting him, a big bear. A 3-year-old, mind you, that doesn't happen. And he wasn't scared. Like, that just makes me think about, for me personally, it makes me think of God protecting him. And, that's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. I'm trying to find you guys a good picture of Casey. This is what we just read. Okay, so let me pull this up. This is a Facebook post. But you need to understand how long that is for Casey to be missing. It says Casey and the Bear. Today marks the anniversary of when 3-year-old Casey Hathaway was found alive after having been missing for 2 days in the rain and frigid temperatures. It was Linda Fraker that thought she heard her crying and she was walking her dogs on the Aurora Road of the rural eastern North Carolina. She contacted authorities and Shane Greer arrived. Shane, captain of the, guys, what is with the names? Chakawinty EMS, heard Casey calling for his mama. Oh, don't make me cry. From deep in the woods where he was tangled in the briars and the flooded area. Casey was cold and wet but chatty. He was treated for hypothermia at the Carolina East Medical Center and told his family that a bear was his best friend for 2 days before requesting French fries and went from Wendy's and a television. But what about the bear? It is not the first time that a missing child had been mention of one. In 1869, 3-year-old Katie Flynn went missing in the Manstee National Forest. She was found the next day alive and told searchers that a big doggy had stayed with her throughout the night. Dude, I'm going to freaking bawl my eyes out. Oh. In 1955, Ida Mae Curtis went missing. Really? Kootenai National Forest in Montana. She was, like Casey, was found 2 days later after 350 backwoodsmen searches in the heavy rain. She relayed to the best friend of a 2-year-old disability being cuddled and comforted by a bear during this time. The Montana sheriff demanded that Ida Mae's family stop telling the story of the bear caring for their little girl. He told them, quit telling that story. It can never happen. It didn't happen. Don't say it anymore. I, for one, believe in bears. Yeah, shut up, dude. Tell them not to tell that story. How the frick did they survive? And why would they all have the same story? They're little innocent kids. You shut up. How about that? 100%. That pissed me off. Don't tell that story. Shut up. Obviously, you don't know what a miracle is. Beautiful, right? Absolutely beautiful. All right. Well, that is our show for today. One of the cool things that I would love to talk to you guys about, you guys will see a short very, very soon. When we were at CrimeCon, we met an amazing, amazing woman. She is I guess her and her husband both own it, but they're the owners of Twinkle Beds. Now, if you guys have seen Twinkle Beds, we just received ours, and Twinkle Beds got sent to us. Now, she was amazing. Her first thought was that she knew about my health issues, and she knew that I've been struggling. I've been sleeping at an incline. I have been scared to lay flat for months. I have not slept without multiple pillows pushing me up as far up as possible so that way I do not have another stroke. Every time I had had one of my strokes, I had been laying flat on my back and woke up having those symptoms. And so ever since then, I've not done that. So she reached out to us and said that she's going to send us a Twinkle bed. And I told her that I would love to try it out. And we got our bed, and it's comfy and it's nice. And we are so grateful for them. And so I wanted to let you guys know that they did give us our own code. I'm going to type it in for you. It's 30% off of these Twinkle beds. You guys will see the video that we have. But if you guys are interested in a Twinkle bed, use my code Colby ZZZ for 30% off one of these beds. So comfortable, temperature, perfect for me. I'm a sweater. Like if I fall asleep, I will sweat, especially if I nap. So it's a horrible thing. But it does elevate. It comes with the base. You can get a mattress. You can get a base. What was even more impressive to me is once the bed came, you guys will see in the video, we popped it open, and instead of just being foam, it actually puffed out and has a real base right here in the bottom. So if you can see this, I'll make it bigger for you guys. Let me do this. So if you can see this, this is actually a base, and you can go and take your sleep quiz today, and it will let you go through and explain how you sleep. Okay. come in here, do your sleep quiz, and it can tell you exactly. So I was on the phone. We basically did an in-person sleep quiz. And when we did that, it was like, well, do you sleep on your side? Do you have, do you sleep on your back? So we were going through what happens, but she's like, I just want you guys to get the best night's sleep possible. And it just came from a place deep in their heart. And so I wanted them to know we are so grateful for them. I'm so excited. And you guys, you'll see the video very soon, but I just want to let you know, if you're looking to get your own twinkle bed, especially after you see the video we make, you can go use code Colby ZZZ and get 30% off, which these are high quality. Okay. You guys know I would not say it if I did not believe it. If I did not think that they were good, she knows this too, it would not be said. I would just be like, hey, the bed was not great. It's super comfy. And I love that it is temperature regulated, which is a big deal for me. And also the base is so clutch for me. You know what I mean? So it is amazing. I just wanted to thank you guys for being a part of the People's Perspective today. On our next People's Perspective, we will be doing another Zoom call. I wanted you guys to know that now. I know a lot of people were probably disappointed you did not get to get in on the Zoom call last time. We will have another Zoom call on the next episode so you guys can hop on and we can talk about what's going on. Can you regulate each side? Yes. So you can get the 2 different beds, but it does have a gap down the middle, but you can regulate each side. Or you can have one flat mattress and it can go all the way up or all the way down, whatever the case is. So it's really, really, really cool. And it is amazing. So go check it out if you guys are interested. I appreciate you. Love you. Happy birthday to my sister. I'm so grateful for the time that I had with her. Thank you guys for rehumanizing her with me and showing her that love. You have supported me and our family for a long time, and it has been an honor and a pleasure to have such a beautiful community rally behind you and care for you. And I care for you guys too. And that's why we have these conversations, is to talk more about what's going on in this world, what we are facing as a society, and what's been going on, maybe that you haven't heard of. So happy birthday, Tylee. Love you. Love you guys. Thank you for being here. We'll see you on the next episode.